Shalom, everyone. We're bringing to you another report from Israel, an update. I have again Gilla and Roi is back with us this week. We missed him last week. So,
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom, and y'all have finished Hanukkah. We are finishing now. And so, what's the latest word? What's happening in Israel? What's happening with the army?
So we have finished the majority of our activity up in the north, and the brigade itself is actually moving down to the south on the north side of Gaza in order to create a pressure on Hamas to push them to sign the ceasefire and release the hostage deal. We left one battalion. The 74 battalion is still up on the north, inside of Syria. I was together with them in Tel Kudna and inside of Syria. I must tell you something that never in my life I imagined that I will be there, like traveling with the jeep. It was quite shocking, interesting. The civilians, the local Syrian civilians are walking around you. They are extremely happy. They are feeling very comfortable knowing that we are there. I wouldn't say that they threw rice and sweets at us, but they were extremely friendly. And you can actually feel quite comfortable, which is very scary if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because that could be a tricky mode. We went inside about 6 kilometers until the first line of the mountains, Tel Kudna, which is one of their massive mountains that observes on the southern part of the Golan Heights. It was extremely interesting to see the way that they are looking upon us. See Israel from the other side. Very educational and important. The army over there is doing an excellent job. We are digging new tunnels. We are trying to secure the border, and we are waiting for the moment that we will understand that we can redraw back to the 1974 ceasefire agreement between Israel and Syria.
I have a question. I think a lot of our viewers might not have caught what you said about the Syrians are glad to see the Israeli army there. What we hear on the news sometimes is accusations that Israel is going in to occupy, to take over this territory and so forth. Why are the Syrians glad to see the Israeli army?
So I will try to explain it. Job, we need to understand the east part of the Golan Mountain is mainly based on Druze, local Druze, that their family are on the Israeli side. For them, the fact that we have entered over there means that they can rejoin their family. It means that they can have much better life knowing that the Israeli government and the freedom that we are allowing for their neighbors or family in the Druze of the Israeli side, it's something that they are looking forward to. However, once you are entering more deeply into Syria, you're moving from the Druze into the Alawim, the Shim, the Sunnim. Those are completely different citizens with completely different agendas. The majority of them, by the way, right now are fighting among themselves. There are stories about some serious massacres between the Shim and the Sunnim towards the Alawim. I must remind all of our viewers, Alawim is the party that ruled Syria since Assad the father in 1966.
These
If
are
I'm not mistaken.
tribes,
It's a tribes, correct.
right?
And they are fighting between themselves. Funny enough, the Alawim who fought Israel for so many years are now actually calling for help and for Israel assistance to help them protecting themselves from the
Of
shame
course,
and the
they're afraid of revenge.
yep. There is a lot of villages that are calling the Israeli Defense Force to come over. They are handing over weapons, ammunition, a lot of things in order to show that they do not seek for any kind of violence or any kind of activity with the Israeli Defense Force. Israel has managed to take out,
Roy,
yes,
excuse me, weren't there four Druze villages that actually requested to become Israeli?
yes, yes, yes. Those are the ones that are actually
Yeah,
right on the opposite side of Majd al
right.
Shams. You're absolutely right, Gila. The
Yeah.
funny part, I must tell you, Israel managed to take out last week 10 full trailers, trucks, filled with ammunition and weapons that was there, a part of the Syrian army. And we even took out tanks. I think we talked about it in the last show that I attended to, but we have managed to remove and to take out to Israel
Tanks.
tanks T-62
Okay.
that we literally, I mean, you know, when I was there in Syria, I said to my guys, it's like it's a dream come true. Whatever we learned when we were soldiers, we see it physically right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually quite amazing to see it.
Did you drive the tanks or did you hold them on the trucks?
No, 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 no. We drove the tanks. They are fully operation. We drove the tank.
Okay.
We took them out.
Okay.
Weather-wise, it's extremely cold.
Mm.
The Hermon Mountain and also the Hermon Crown. I don't know if you know. We don't call it anymore the Syrian Hermon. We call it the Hermon Crown. Is completely
It's
snowed.
yeah,
It's
covered.
cold, but the soldiers are doing an amazing job. We are extremely proud of them. Those young boys are really the bravest that we can ever ask, and they are really, really highly motivated. They understand the mission, and they are doing a very good job.
Well,
Yeah.
these tanks that you mentioned, the T-62s and so forth, uh, for the audience, these are Russian-made tanks,
Mm.
and the later generations of these tanks from
Right.
yeah,
And the Russians were all over the place here. Some of the pictures that Roy sent had road signs in Russian.
True.
You know that.
And you can truly feel the Russian fingerprint in Syria.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. And by the way, the more you go deep into towards Damascus, you can see it more and more, but even more high quality ammunition and weapons. I mean, the T-62 and T-55 considered to be the old one, but
No.
once you are entering towards Damascus,
The
there is already T-72, which
wow.
is very
Wow.
advanced if you look on it from the technology wise. By the way,
Which is
those
which is better, the T-72 or the Merkava Mark IV?
Gila, please. I mean, come on, Gila.
Let's not exaggerate.
But
Okay.
I'm going to surprise you.
Delete. Delete.
I'm going
Yeah.
to surprise you. The better is the Merkava Mark III, but let's put that
Oh,
on the side.
okay.
Um, but
Yeah.
beside of that, that's right now in Syria. I must say that we are fully on high alert. We see and we identify a lot of movement from terrorist organizations, if it's ISIS, if it's the Iraqis militias. We even have intel that the Houthim from Yemen has managed to move towards Syria and to set up a kind of a camp in order to create some activity
Wow.
against Israel.
Wow.
However, with a lot of working together with the United States, of course, there is a lot of activity on this area. The focus right now is on the triangle borders of Syria, Jordan, and Israel. Over there, it's a little bit more sensitive, mainly because people are trying to use the gap over there and to push more drugs, weapon, and a lot of other things towards Jordan. But we are trying our best. The military is there. There is a lot of intel, plenty. Can tell you that there are serious flights above that area, and when we need to attack, we attack.
Well, you know, the United States in the last, yesterday and even today are starting to have these terms like ISIS and so forth. And we hear it in Israel, we hear it in Syria, we hear it, throughout the Middle East, but now we're hearing it here. And terrorism is something that I'm afraid that the United States is going to have to deal with on the home front.
And not only United States, Joe. Listen, what goes on in Europe right now.
Yeah.
I saw today some footage from from Brussels. Listen, it's becoming to spread all over Europe, and it's only a matter of time until things will go even more, let's say, higher casualties. Right now, it's on a small minority, wounded people here and there, but it's going to hit very strong. Unfortunately, I must say that we alerted that that's what's going to happen. Not everybody listened, and I'm afraid that that's going to be a price that the nations around the world are going to give and to learn that they need to pay that lesson. And it's going to be cruel. It's going to be very cruel. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think there'll be a lot of good jobs for security experts in Israel.
True.
Everybody will invite them to teach them how to do good security.
Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that the American public that needs to support Israel, because if Israel were not there, think of what the situation would be like right now. I mean, Israel is the main force that is confronting the terrorists wherever they are. And it's not by choice, but it's by what you have to do. And we have an expression here, pay me now or pay me later. I would rather support Israel and have you to do so effectively what you do, because once it goes out from the Middle East, as you said, Europe, United States, it'll be worldwide.
True. True. And I think, by the way, what happened right now in Syria, what's going on right now in the Middle East is a great testimony to the fact that you need to get strong and you need to get, how should I say it? You need to be the bully in the street. And I will explain what I mean. Towards the years, more than 20 years, we kept on quiet and we said, okay, we will not retaliate. We will not do anything. At the end of the day, it's exploded in our face on the 7th of October.
Yeah.
And we all saw the videos. We all saw what happened. I can tell you from a first sight, what I saw is something that I will never forget for my entire life. Ever since then, we've managed to overcome and we've managed to take control. I'm not saying that we are creating violence. I would say that we are now showing our neighbors that we will not sit quiet. We will not sit still.
Right.
You say in English, don't mess with us.
Don't mess with us. Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
the fact that you are looking at Russia, the way they ran away from Syria, and the fact that all of a sudden it's United States, Israel, a little bit of UK, all of a sudden people realize that, sorry for the language, but when the shit hit the fan, it's Israel and the Americans, and that's about it. And I
Yeah.
think it's about time that people will understand it, and people needs to realize that when we said about Iran, when we spoke about Lebanon, when we spoke about the Palestinian, that they are not partners for peace, everybody looked at us and said Israel is exaggerating. I don't think that
Crazy.
we have exaggerated. I think that we have pointed it out. We kept quiet because we wanted the world to be happy to see that Israel is doing whatever it's been told. At the end of the day, we paid a very, very high
Price.
price, and it's about time that people will start listening to America and will start listening to United to Israel itself. United
Right.
States and Israel has the same interest, and that is to keep the Middle East safe. I'm not saying that we will sign a peace agreement with Syria or Lebanon. I don't think it will ever happen. But I do believe that now that we have managed to flip the coin to the other side, people can see that we are stronger. Respect us a little bit, not too much, but a little bit.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that the brigade is going to Gaza for the most
True.
part. And the negotiations with Hamas have kind of broken off for the present moment. And the purpose is to bring pressure on Hamas uh, with uh, this is a big acceleration back in troop force and everything. Um,
Mm.
and so the hope is that Hamas will come back to the negotiating table, and the main goal is to get the hostages back.
Release the hostages.
So the issue right now is the following: Israel received a list of 20 hostages that we know that they are alive, and we know that they are under Hamas control. Okay, that's from the 100 hostages that we know right now. 60 of them, by the way, we know for sure that they are dead. So that
Out
gives
of the
us,
100?
out of the 160, yes, of course. It was up on the news, Gila. So
Yes, I know.
the the issue right now is, if Hamas has a list of 20, Hamas is now searching very, very intensive about the other 20. What I want to say is that, and I'm not protecting Hamas over here, the majority are not under Hamas organization. There is a lot that are spread under the Jihad Islam and some other small organizations that nobody really knows where they are. And that was one of the conflicts upon really the edge of where we are signing the agreement. And the argument was related to when Hamas will release the list of the 20 names and what will be the next step from Israel. And Israel refused to withdraw from Philadelphia and Nezarim because they said, until we won't get the final list, we do not want to move an inch. Um, that's the reason why we are entering Gaza right now. We are entering with a very high amount of tanks in order to create a massive pressure upon Hamas, showing them that we can squeeze them even more and allowing the military to do some more searches on areas that we might have kind of an intel that we can locate bodies or even live prisoner hostages. They are not prisoners. The thing is that Hamas wants to get the ceasefire right away. Today in the morning, Israel managed to take out three very high rank positions in the Hamas police. Israel is pushing quite a lot on the humanitarian aid, mainly on the fact that they are not releasing it to the Hamas hands. They are releasing it to other international organizations. Hamas is waking up, and still, in the last 7 days in a row, Hamas managed to fire rockets on the south part of Israel. So it's like it's a kind of a wrestle between two parties that are trying to give the last sentence. I don't think that it's fair, because when you drive in Gaza and you see what is going on in Gaza, I mean, I don't understand how Hamas is not screaming out and saying, we are surrendering. There is nothing left out of Gaza. Hamas brought upon himself a complete disaster. But still, they are trying to fight us quite a lot. I believe that
It just shows you that they don't care. They don't care about anything.
they don't
They
care.
don't care about the people. They don't care about anything.
I agree.
The only thing they care about is killing more Jewish people, killing more
agree.
Jews. That's the only thing that interests them.
And that's very sad.
Yeah.
That's very sad. And I just hope one thing: the brigade is entering next week. They are going to a very sensitive mission, because at the end of the day, they are going to be among civilian population. They need to be very, very precise, locating terrorist activities among the civilian, trying not to hit the civilians, and of course, making sure that we are pushing the Hamas so they will sign the agreement. Guys, I'm very optimistic about it. I have a feeling
Good.
that that mid-Feb we will get into a ceasefire in Gaza. That's my personal believing. I don't have a problem that we will make a debate about it in the future, or you can judge me in the future.
No. We're all hoping that you're right, and we're all praying
Yes.
for that. And we ask everybody to pray, and hoping that that's really the situation.
But I did
That's
brought you
good.
some very
We
interesting
support you.
footage.
Yeah.
I did brought you some very interesting footage. If you would like to show it, that will be nice. You can see our tanks and the battalion, 71 battalion, that is actually right now in Gaza. Those are our tanks actually fighting inside. Again, you can see that there is not much left out of Gaza. And I'm not saying it proudly, I'm just saying they are everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Do you have the next one, Corey? Oh.
So those are footage from the Syrian Hermon, or the crown of Syria, the crown of the Hermon. That's actually the road that leads from the Hermon, the Israeli side, towards the highest point of the Hermon. The next picture is actually talking about themselves. I mean, you can see it. It's amazing. Who ever thought that we will be there? It's amazing to see that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe, do you remember this intelligence tower that you see from everywhere in the Golan?
Yes. Yeah.
Now they're there. It's amazing. And tell me, did you invite people from the Golani Brigade that took this in 1974, 1973?
Yes. Not only that, I must tell you a quick one. In 1974, an Israeli helicopter crashed not so far from that area, and we had 6 soldiers who died. But the remaining of that helicopter were found lately, 50 years after. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
And they've managed to move it and to take it back to Israel.
Back to Israel. Wow.
It's amazing. So yes, we took a lot of veterans. Of course, it's not a trip. We are not doing it as a part of, like a school trip, but we do invite a lot of the veterans to see, to remember, to give their point of view. Guys, the 74 Battalion was the first battalion who entered
Right.
Syria in the Golan and the Hermon mountain.
Right.
We called up to Yossi Nissim. He was the deputy battalion commander, and he gave a speech and a story to all the young officers. And that's like 51 years after. It's amazing. So yeah, a lot of respect to them.
We're winding down on our time for this update, and I want to make sure that we encourage people to support. There's equipment that's needed, right in this particular brigade, and so we're talking about the bulletproof vests. We're talking about the helmets primarily, and we're trying to raise enough money to be able to outfit the reserve soldiers that are in there fighting right along with the regular soldiers, the regular army, and but they don't have the equipment they need. And so if you want to donate, the little bar up in the top, you can scan that and it'll take you to the David Fund, okay? Or you can type in JerusalemTempleStudy.com/David Fund, and there's a donate button. And you can send the money, and the money is going to go directly to the brigade so that these things can be taken care of as fast as possible. So if you can help, please, please do whatever you can.
I just must add to that.
A minute or two left.
Joe, I just must add to that. We feel everything that you're doing for us, and it's amazing, and we really appreciate it. And I think that we even sent the brigade, the deputy commander, Ari, with the show video. And guys, to all of the viewers, you are amazing. We feel your support. We feel your prayers. We feel the fact that you are backing us up and you're standing with us. We need your support. We are speechless once we are getting it. Thank you.
It's amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing.
Nothing is taken for granted, and we want to thank you so much.
And every dollar that is contributed goes to the Army. There is no overhead whatsoever.
True.
And so, again, all of you, thank you so much. Not only watch this, but share it with your friends. Pass it around.
And thank you for your generosity.
Yes, every bit. So,
yeah.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. And may we have peaceful days ahead of us.
See you next week.
See you next week. Shalom.